And there we are. Welcome you guys to SQL Hangout number 36. As you can see, we have Boris here with us today, but I'm not Boris, so something has changed. I'm actually taking over the SQL Hangouts from now on. And we have our guest here today. Koen, do you want to introduce yourself first?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Koen Verbeeck, and I'm a Microsoft Business Intelligence consultant based in Belgium. That's pretty much the gist of it. I like working with integration services for some odd reason, but I work on the whole Microsoft BI stack for about 7 years now.
Cool. Okay. And Boris.
Should I say more?
You have to say that you are one of the best author for MS SQL tips.
Yeah, that's true.
That's important. Kind of important.
It's all about shameless self-promotion, right? I forgot. So I have my own blog at the SQLcover.com. I have Twitter as well. And as Boris mentioned, I write a lot of articles at mssqltips.com. Sometimes I do webinars as well. You can still watch those on demand, or you can just read lots and lots of articles as well. I used to be very active in the SQL Server Central forums, but lately I've been quite busy at work and stuff like that. So that's moved a bit to the background, but like Grant Fritchie and other people, I was very active on that forum, answering lots of questions, stuff like that. So that's basically it. Right now I'm doing projects with Power BI and the whole BI stack. It's been a very interesting times with Power BI and everything. All right, and I would like to thank you all for having me, of course.
No, thank you. We're happy to have you here today. Yep. So MS SQL Tips, done a lot of things there, and you're also a speaker. So do you have any upcoming events that people can find you at?
Yeah, it's true. I forgot to mention it. In just a couple of months, I think there's IT Proceed. It's in Belgium. I most of the time speak in Belgium. As I have small kids, and it's very hard for me to travel, so I try for the moment to speak locally as much as I can in the local user group and events. So just a few weeks ago, there was the first SQL Saturday here in Belgium, which went great. It was the first time ever over 100 people showed up. It was really nice. And in just a few months, we have IT Proceed. It's a Microsoft event. It's co-hosted by Microsoft, and it's for the IT professional. So there's also a SQL Server data platform track, which I'll probably be talking about Power BI or something. Still have to submit my abstracts. But in October, there's also the SQL Server Days event. It's the best event on the mainland in Europe, because SQL Bits is not on the mainland, so I can say that. So it's at least the best one of the best in the Benelux. Great event. Lots of international speakers. Catherine was there last year as well. And I hope I get to speak this year as well at SQL Server Days. It will be a great honor. It would be my 6th time, I think, I would speak there. So it would be nice.
Yeah, I was there last year. It's a great event, and I saw you speak as well. Great session.
Yeah, which brings us directly into the topic, because Boris helped me with the presentation.
Oh, that's the one?
That's the one.
Oh, that's the one. Okay, yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, it was an interesting session that you delivered, definitely. That was like the new stuff in the upcoming version, in the upcoming release, right?
Yeah, it's true. And Boris was always saying, no, you have way too much content, because
yes.
SQL Server team really outdid themselves, and they packed too many features in SQL Server 2016, so it was a lot of features to cram into one single session, but somehow I managed.
Okay. What was the audience reaction, by the way? How they felt about the session?
I thought it was great. I was there. I was watching. Slide deck was great. Koen was funny. It's a funny slide deck, funny presentation, so you should absolutely watch that if you can. But yeah, packed room, great session. Not sure how it was for you to present that day.
It was great. I like doing what's new sessions, those type of sessions where you can explain something new to the audience, because they're probably just excited as you are about all the new features. And I just like doing those kinds of presentations because it gives me the opportunity to just dive into the new stuff. It gives me an excuse to check everything out, to try everything out, and then see what works, what doesn't work, and then try to summarize it for an audience. These are the kind of sessions that I really enjoy doing. So I really like the session there at SQL Server Days.
Yeah, you'll have to repeat that one this year.
Yeah.
Probably.
There are even more features because at that time it wasn't even known how big reporting services would change. They have the new portal right now, an integration with Excel and Power BI coming up. At that time, it wasn't even known how big reporting services would change. So yeah, now I just have to split it into at least 3 or 4 different parts because it's too much to cram into one single hour. It's a whole pre-con kind of level right now. So
yeah, cool stuff.
It is. So Boris, I'm guessing people who have been watching SQL Hangouts know who you are, but
Hope so.
Yeah, you can introduce yourself as well, and just tell us about what you're doing now since you're moving away from the SQL Hangouts.
Yeah, so for the people for those of you who still haven't seen any of the 35 previous SQL Hangouts, I started the Hangouts like 2 years ago or something. I don't remember. Yeah, I believe so. And then I believe last summer something changed because I delivered a webinar for one of the chapters of the past, I don't know which one, the professional development, I believe it was, and I developed a webinar on something that's truly, and for those of you who know me, obviously one of my passions, which is presentation design. And I'm also a SQL MVP, so you guys probably, that's important to mention here. And there were a lot of people who started sending me their changed slide decks based on what they learned from that session. And this was right before me going to a holiday, and I was like, okay, so there are so many people that like this. I really like this, and I thought that it kind of makes sense for me to try and do it and convert that passion into business. And so I decided that I will go to the holiday and I will try to figure out whether or not I should do that. And I decided I will go for it because I was afraid what's going to happen if I don't. And yeah, seriously, I was really afraid of what am I going to be saying to myself if I don't try, right? I mean, it was going to be really hard for me. So I decided to go for it. 15 or 20 days after we went and released it and said it and announced it, there were the first clients. I mean, the paid clients. And so this was like how can I say it? It was like a confirmation that the idea itself works. And from there it went, I will not say straight through the roof, but it's going well up until now. And so I own a presentation design and training agency, which is called 356 Labs. And yeah, you can check it for yourself on the website. It's like 356labs.com. And yeah, more or less, we're doing presentation design and training that is related all around presentations, meaning like presentation skills, presentation design, data visualization, storytelling, visual storytelling, psychology behind design, everything that's in the world of presentations. Yeah, so that's
design matters.
And so that's it. So that's it. Yeah, and so I'm stepping back a bit from the SQL Server stuff, and this was one of the perfect moments for me to hand over the SQL Hangouts, because I really believe that those videos are cool and you guys are enjoying them and the community is enjoying them. And so yeah, I invited Katrin to just move them and continue to develop them because I believe she can do a great job. And yeah, that's
and I love them as well. I've been, all over Twitter and blogging about this. I've participated in it too. I think it's just such a great idea to have these kind of informal chats, not doing a prepared webinar or something. Just know people and just talk about things and have fun.
Yeah, people don't believe that these are not prepared. I mean, seriously.
They're not. I have to hide all my...
I mean, seriously, they don't believe that this is not prepared whatsoever.
So you didn't prepare your full slide deck for this one, Koen?
No. Oh, you can.
Perfect.
That's a sad story.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we know presentation design matter, but you mentioned when I invited you to do this one, Koen, that you also think that design matter in BI projects, and for reporting services, of course, it matters. But you also mentioned for SSIS projects, and I think you did a webcast about this earlier as well.
Yes, I have a webcast about just general integration services best practices. And I usually just start with design is important, and not just designing for performance, but the actual layout of the package as well. Sometimes I just open up a package of someone else, and it's all spaghetti-like, and it's all execute SQL task 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm like, oh. So I try to remind people, like, give good names to tasks, so that just by looking at it, I should know what the package is supposed to be doing. There should be some sort of visual flow of, and everything that belongs together should be structured together, and so on and so on. Just really try to let people think about, you really have to put a little bit of effort in designing the layout of your package. Just when you open it, you get an idea of, okay, this package is doing this kind of stuff. And everywhere I go, I'm a consultant, so I go on different projects. Just open up, and the first thing I do is symmetrically laying out everything a bit OCD. In Visual Studio, you have the layout toolbar. Not a lot of people know it exists, but you can use it to just arrange all the objects together and to group it just like you would in Visio or in PowerPoint or in whatever. And I think it's very important, and it just shows you that you care about your project. So layout there is for me, it's just as important as designing and for performance or for everything. So, and then I think those two always go hand in hand, performance and the design as well. Be it integrate services or analysis services or reporting services or even PowerPoint slide decks. If you design them well, the performance of the message is better then. So you can put that on your website, Boris.
That's very well said, man. Very well said.
And it's for me, I think it's kind of a bit about respecting the people you work with as well, for them to understand. It's the usability part of things. Also, when you're presenting, you want to present it in a way that people can easily understand, and the same thing when you're creating SSIS packages or reports, right?
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. It's always the first thing that I do is just like give good names to everything. Put some annotations or documentation, just so that people open up, they know what the package is supposed to be doing. I really go really far in it. I often redo other people's work, so just reorganize everything, just so that it looks better. And also with SQL code, it's just the same. There are a lot of free format websites and tools out there that you can use to format SQL, because that's one of the things I hate the most. It's just on-format SQL statements that just one great big line of code, and then I have to format it, and I spend hours and hours in my life formatting SQL code. Because even the formatter doesn't really do it exactly the way I want it to be. But,
yeah, Management Studio has to do that somehow automatically, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah,
so,
there are great tools. Yeah,
have you tried the SSIS auto layout feature? What do you think about that?
Never use it. I never used it. Because I'm very, very peculiar in the way I like to see things. Maybe I'm just a bit like Boris. He started a design agency to do the things he thinks is best, and I do the things in my integrated services projects best, and I really don't, most of the time, don't really like the result of the auto layout. So I mainly do it by hand, but using the layout toolbar, it's just a few, I just select everything and just a few clicks and everything is the same size. It's in a symmetrical layout and everything's just a few clicks. And so it doesn't take much time. So it really bothers me that some people don't take just a few seconds of extra time to visualize their package a little bit better. Just the same as in .NET code or in SQL code. It doesn't matter where you do it. It's almost everything you touch in a BI project, you need to think about layout and performance as well.
Just to mention something here, every single time when I hear someone talking about automating design or automating anything that's creative, because if you think about it, design is something that's creative stuff. Every single time when I hear someone trying to tell me that creative can be automated, I'm like, either you guys are lost, I mean, either you don't know what you're talking about, or the machine learning, AI, stuff like this is so advanced that when this happens, we are in big trouble. I mean, when machines are able to do the same creative stuff as humans, then I believe we are going to be in trouble as a human society, and etc.
Do you think that will ever happen, though?
What's that?
Do you think that will ever happen? That machines can actually do the same thing, the same creativity?
I can speculate only. I believe it will happen. The problem is that I don't foresee it coming in the next 20 or 30 years. For me, probably it will happen. I just cannot imagine it. It's still just so far away. It's just so far away. I cannot imagine a robot or an automated algorithm somehow take a picture which is with the same quality, with the same creative as the best photographer on the planet will. I just cannot figure that out. I cannot imagine that.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, but once that happens, then we'll talk about again on the Hangouts, and probably we'll be searching for another jobs then. We'll see.
Probably.
We'll see.
The Hangout will be done by machines by then. So.
True story. Just to mention here, remember, I don't know if you have seen it, Microsoft did something that's called in PowerPoint. Probably they will do something similar in their other tools, but have you seen a blog post that I wrote that's called Design Ideas in PowerPoint?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you saw that? So yeah. They were saying that put everything on your slides and click Design Ideas, and we will give you the best slide on the planet. And when I first heard that months after I started the company, I was like, shit, man, this is bad stuff. And then I went and tried the new feature, and it's just so far away. It's just so far away from being the thing that Microsoft are marketing this. I mean, it's just really, really far away. Really far away.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a question now from someone who's watching live, who commented that we should set up an Azure machine learning job to generate an SSIS package layout. What do you think about that idea?
Koen, please.
Why not? In my opinion, it will already be great if BIML supports some more layouting tools, or maybe it's there, but I don't know about it. But so the only moment I really let go of all my maniacal tendencies to do layout is when I generate packages with BIML, because it goes a bit against the point of generating packages if you just open them up one by one to set the layout. So that's the only time I don't set the layout, because it's auto-generated. So I have a good.
Then I'm guessing that you want your BIML code in a certain way instead.
Yeah. No, it's okay. Just try to comment a lot, because BIML, although it's XML, it's not that readable for so many people. So try to comment my comment my code. Sorry. But yeah, that's the only time I kind of lay back on the layouting stuff and like that, because yeah, it's auto-generated. But if there was some option in BIML, like say make everything the same size and put it in a nice grid layout or something, that would be nice though.
I know they have a lot of requests for that, so I'll see what I can do about the BIML stuff. People care about what things look like, even though maybe you shouldn't, because it's the code that you should focus on, not the layout of the package, because the package is just what actually executes stuff. But people do care, like you're saying here right now. So maybe in the future.
By the way, I have a question for Katrin. Okay. You want something like, I'm not following along very closely, but you won something like a BIML Hero Award or something?
I did. Back in February, I became the second BIML Hero in the world, so a certified BIML expert.
Shit, man, that's serious. Now,
And
my
it
question
started with the Hangout I did with you back in, that was Hangout number 22, I think, talking about BIML. That was the first time I actually spoke about BIML publicly. So thank you for that, Boris. Got me right on
okay.
that.
I influenced that BIMO Hero Award. Does that mean that you are something like the equivalent of the MVP for BIMO? Meaning that you
Well,
can
kind of.
talk with the product group or?
More
It's a
MCM.
certification. So I've been working on it for 8 months. We did an advanced training course. I did
Okay.
a full-out production quality code sample that I submitted and got reviewed by the guy who created BIML, Scott Curry, which was
Yeah.
very scary. A case study of how I actually implemented it, and so yeah, it's a certification, and it's more than just taking a test. You have to take a test as well, but you also have to submit your code.
Okay, so it's more or less a technical certification, not the MVP style stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
Ah,
so it's technical.
okay.
I know BIML now, and I can teach it to others. I can go out and do projects and things like that.
Yeah, I just thought that we can help Koen by saying to him that he can request features from you, and you are going to drive everything else from there.
Yes, that's the whole point about the layout. I'm going to show them this video and say that more people actually care about SSIS package design than you might think.
Yeah.
So what about SQL Server 2016? SSIS features, what are you excited about there?
About incremental package deployment. It's also a thing that a lot of developers really wanted back because it was available in 2005, 2008. And then in 2012 they said, okay, now you can only deploy single projects. You can no longer deploy packages. You have to do it like a real code project. So it was a bit forcing people to use source control and to use Team Foundation Server, GitHub or whatever to do sort of branching and merging. Well, it turns out BI people don't really like you doing that kind of stuff. So they kind of went back on their tracks, and now you can deploy individual packages, which makes our life easy. I do follow the integration services team that it's important to make sure everything is in source control, of course. But I don't think the BI community is at the same level as Java developers or .NET developers on the whole continuous integration and stuff like that. I think we're not that far yet, unfortunately.
No, I agree.
Yeah. Also because most BI people I know don't really have the programming developer background, so they're not programmers. Most of them they went to university or high school and they taught computer programming. They did maybe like chemistry or biochemistry or mathematics. A lot of people in BI that don't have programming backgrounds. They just come from a science direction and they just or economics or statistics, and they're not all die-hard IT programmers. So that might have something to do with it, but I'm not sure. So that's one of the features I like best. Another one is the custom logging levels. So when you deploy integrators to the server, it automatically logs everything for you, and by default, it logs way too much data. Logs way too much events. So I had one at a client with 0.5 terabyte of integration services database because they didn't realize that it was also in the full recovery model, and they didn't take transaction log backups. So okay, we say, our backups are a bit slow. So okay, so too much information log, and now you can have more control over what happens, and you can set it as a default on the server as well, which is a very big improvement. So a lot of the integration services new features are more about making our lives a bit easier. There are not a lot of features that I think are really groundbreaking. Maybe the control flow parts are a nice addition, but they're just a bit too basic to be very useful to me yet. I would think.
Have you tried those yet?
I've tried them out, so I could present on them, could give demos on them, but for the moment, I don't have an actual use case in one of my projects that says, okay, I really need to use it here, because most of the logging is done in the catalog. I think the best use for control flow parts is in like custom logging frameworks and stuff like that. So that's always the same in every package, which is most of the time a logging framework, but most of the time it's done in the catalog for you. So I don't have a use case yet where I think, this, I need to do it like this, because if something is fairly common, I use Biml to do it already. So like staging and persistent staging and stuff like that. So everything that looks almost every time the same, I use Biml to generate it. So maybe they're a bit too late with that functionality now that Biml is on the scene. But I think it can still be useful for a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's a first step, I think, and especially for people who are not programmers yet, to have something there. I think that's a good step by Microsoft.
Yeah.
So Boris, SQL Server 2016. We talked about SSIS, but which features are you excited about?
Oh man, what can I say? I mean, from what I have been looking at in the, I don't know, the last few months, I will be honest, I haven't played that much with the release because I'm obviously busy with some other work, but I would probably not say what are the features that are really impressing me right now. I want to go back to what Koen mentioned, that Microsoft are doing those improvements that somehow are not groundbreaking, but are making your life easier. And probably what's most impressing for me, what most impressed me in the 2016 release, or at least what I'm seeing up until now, is that Microsoft started listening. And now this is really, really strange stuff if you think about it, because I don't think that they were doing that up until now. I don't know what's your opinion, guys, but in the last 5 or 6 months, or probably a year, at least as an MVP and what I'm seeing with the community and everything like this, Microsoft are listening a ton. I mean, a lot. And they're listening to the community, which is, oh my God, something is really changed. Like every single thing that I'm seeing from Microsoft nowadays across all of their products is we listen and then implement, which is completely different behavior than their behavior before. So I don't want to point to features like, I don't know, like Polybase, the improvements in everything else. Obviously, there are a lot of great things, but I'm just really impressed that they are listening and that they continue to listen, which I believe is a good formula for them and will lead at the end to a better product that they probably thought of in first place. That's my opinion on your question. No favorite features.
Add to that as well with SSMS. Splitting that up from the core engine so they can ship that and update that faster than the actual SQL Server engine, which is a great thing. And I think this is kind of how Microsoft is listening to the community. They're taking that open source, more app development thing into the world of data. So I think they're good first steps, and hopefully a lot of exciting things coming up in the next couple of years. And again, the world is changing with Azure and the cloud and everything going on so fast there. They need to keep up with that in the SQL Server engine as well.
Yeah. For me, probably one of the most important, even though it's like a BI stuff, for me, one of the most groundbreaking things is the fact that you can do those hackathon tables with column store indexes. This is really insanity. I mean, this could be a really, really big deal if they implement that correctly. Yeah, at least I believe so.
Yeah. Also, one of the best and most obvious examples is Power BI. I think the change.
And reporting services.
Yeah, Power BI changes every month or every week, and there's new visuals every week, and then the service is updated. The mobile apps are updated every month. Desktop is being updated every month, and a year ago it was like, oh, this is just an immature product. They just released it, but in the course of a year they added so many new features, and when first the clients are saying, oh, we'll just wait a little bit. But every week you can say, oh, the feature you wanted, it's in the product now, and clients are getting really excited about Power BI. There was a demo about Power BI, and one of the guys at Microsoft, he was showing security on top of analysis services cube. I said, yeah, in ClickSense you can define row-level security just on the server itself. You don't have to use a cube or whatever. And the guy from Microsoft said, "Oh, we're never going to do it. No, it's different philosophies. We're never going to do it."
Yeah,
And
yeah,
now 2 months later, they announced that they're going to do it. So they really listen. And yeah, I'm really excited about how Microsoft is behaving the last months, years. Like lots of great changes indeed. And as Boris said, the reporting services as well. They're really listening and they're adding new features and capabilities and lots of stuff. It's been a great time to work at Microsoft BI, I think.
Yeah, I just have to probably add here that whenever we talk about that listening part, I just want to mention something that you probably saw at least once, that I presented a lot on row-level security, dynamic data masking, because we did some internal testing for an app that we wrote internally at our company like 1 year ago or something. And I was invited at least 2 or 3 times to talk with the PMs of the row-level security on a private call, and I shared so much stuff with them, and every single thing that I shared with them is now implemented. I mean, it is a different world out there. I mean, seriously. So row-level, by the way, row-level security and dynamic data masking are two of the some seriously cool features in the new product.
Yeah. Another example is that.
Yeah, I'll agree on that. It's an exciting time to be working with Microsoft technology right now.
Yeah. So just a couple of months back, reporting service was just being previewed in CTP 1 or 2, or I don't know, and I was talking about some feature that really didn't work properly on Twitter, and immediately I got a direct message from Riccardo Muti. I think it's one of the PMs at the reporting service. He's like, "Oh yeah, can you give more details about this?" So I sent him an email and he replied with everything, and then in the previews after that, I could immediately see that they're really actively working on the stuff that you mentioned. So I think it's really impressive, really.
Yeah.
So great.
SQL on Linux, guys. SQL on Linux. We'll see that.
SQL on Linux. That was a surprise to many, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Still
so
not learning Linux, so.
SQL Hangouts, short chats. I'm sure we could have been, chatting for another hour about all the new cool features. But I think we should wrap it up here now, so I won't take all of your time here tonight. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and also for those of you who have been watching live and for those of you watching the recording afterwards. I'll be posting a blog post with links to Koen and Boris's blogs and Twitter accounts and all of that, so you can go and check out all the cool stuff they're doing. Do you have anything you guys want to add before we wrap this up?
I'd like to thank Boris for his assistance with the slide deck. I promised that I would advertise a little bit.
It was a pleasure, man. Next time you have to reach me at least a week earlier, and then we can do even better job.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and thank you, Boris, as well, for starting SQL Hangouts, for doing the first 35, and I hope we can bring it up to 100 in no time.
I hope that you will invite me back again. I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah. As a special guest.
Yeah, but from now on, everyone who is expecting to see me in the Hangouts, sorry guys, I'm not going to be there.
You can watch the recordings.
Yes, and I will comment on those.
Okay, like I said, thank you so much for joining me here today, and I'll be announcing the next SQL Hangout in hopefully not too long, and I hope to see you again then. So, goodbye.
Perfect, bye, and thanks for inviting us.
Yes, thanks for inviting. Have a great time.
You too, man. Bye.
Bye.